Eurasia, a combination of the continents of Europe and Asia in the so-called Old World. So located mostly in the Eastern Hemisphere. It is so named because there are no absolutely clear geographical divides between Europe and Asia. The generally agreed ones are the Ural Mountains in northern and east central Russia, the Caucasus Mountains, and then the Black Sea, and then the Marmara Sea, Bosporus Strait, Marmara Sea, and Aegean Sea. Europe and Asia cover a total of 55 million square kilometers, and as of November the 19th, 2017, about 5,262,489,000 people lived in Europe and Asia. The two continents include approximately 90 countries, and then there are 9 dependencies, that is, regions with self-government or some form of self-government often, but no full political independence. So longitudinally, Europe and Asia are located mostly in the Eastern Hemisphere, latitudinally primarily in the Northern Hemisphere. They are bordered by the Atlantic Ocean to the west, by the Pacific Ocean to the east, the Arctic Ocean to the north, and then by Africa, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Indian Ocean to the south. Over 1/3 of the Earth's total land area, or about 36.2%, are covered by Europe and Asia, and about 70% of the world's people live in these two continents. Eurasia has included many ancient civilizations, including the Mesopotamian, Indian, and Chinese ones, and of course the Persian or Iranian one, the Mongolian one, the Japanese and Korean ones, and then the Southeastern Asian ones, which have also been partly Polynesian ones. And then in northern and eastern Russia, for example, the Samoyedic civilizations or peoples are covered there. The Egyptian civilization, ancient Egyptian civilization, stretched slightly into Western Asia. The Hebrew and Jewish civilizations are there, the Arabian civilizations, of course the Ottoman Turkish civilization, although the Ottoman Turkish Empire stretched also into northern Africa and southeastern Europe. And of course the Greek or Hellenic civilization, the Roman civilization, the Germanic, Celtic, Finno-Ugric, and other civilizations. And because Europe and Asia are together such a vast area of the world, they contain collectively all of the, or virtually all of the, known climate zones of the Earth. Currently, one of the European Union's most prominent projects is the Russia-European Union Four Common Spaces initiative. And Russia is indeed a prime example of how arbitrary these continental divisions are. Because Russia's official language, the Russian language, is an Indo-European language, more specifically an Eastern Slavic language, because Russia has, during its history, or most of its history, been linked linguistically, culturally, even religiously, and of course politically and militarily to Europe. It still is most often classified as a European country, although most of Russia's vast landmass is actually located to the east of the Ural Mountains, which is one of the generally agreed geographical boundaries between Europe and Asia. Russia is, of course, also an Asian country, therefore it should be called a Eurasian country. And then Turkey includes a tiny corner of southeastern Europe, eastern Thrace more specifically. Turkey also has for a long time had significant political, economic, even athletic, and to some extent cultural, military ties to Europe, even though it is considered mostly an Asian country. Also Cyprus would fall into this category. Its southern and majority portion, the Greek Cypriot Republic, is a member of the European Union, despite being located in Western Asia. Its northern portion, the Turkish Cypriot Republic, so far has only been recognized by Turkey. Israel, even though it is classified as an Asian country, still contains a significant proportion of people of European origin and a significant minority of people of North American origin because of the aliyah, or return of many Jews from diaspora or exile, chiefly in Europe and North America, to Eretz Israel, or the land of Israel. And then the Caucasus region's countries, Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, are variously called either Eastern European or then Central Asian, or possibly in some divisions Western Asian countries. Kazakhstan is either included in the Eastern European countries or Central Asian countries, and to some extent Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and even Kyrgyzstan can be classified as either Eastern European or Central Asian countries, although along with Kazakhstan they are clearly more Central Asian countries geographically anyway, and also ethnically than, and especially ethnically than such countries as Russia, which include significant settlements in Eastern Europe. Russia is ironically a country most of whose people live in Europe, but most of whose territory is located in Asia, and the simple explanation for this fact is the harsh climate that Asian Russia, which is mostly Siberia, includes, which still makes that vast portion of Russia fairly unattractive to human settlement, even though it has vast natural resources. And likewise, Lebanon has ties to Europe, especially because it used to be a French mandate, and a significant portion of the Lebanese still speak French, especially those who belong to the Maronite Church, which is similar to the Catholic Church. Syria is classified as a Middle Eastern or Western Asian country, even though it too has had ties to Europe. The Russian concept of Eurasia corresponded at first more or less to the land area that the Russian Empire occupied in 1914 at the start of the First World War, including parts of Eastern Europe. And one of Russia's main geopolitical interests is to integrate more and more closely with those countries that it considers part of Eurasia. Every 2 years since 1996, a meeting of most Asian and European countries is organized as the Asia-Europe meeting. It was officially established in March 1996 at the first summit in Bangkok, Thailand, by the then 15 members of the European Union and the European Commission, by the then 7 members of the Association of Southeastern Asian Nations. The European Union currently has 28 members, but at the end of December 2020, Britain is scheduled to leave the European Union, while ASEAN has currently 10 members. And the individual countries of China, Japan, and South Korea. A series of enlargements saw additional European Union members join, as well as India, Mongolia, Pakistan, and the ASEAN Secretariat in 2008, even Australia and New Zealand, which officially do not belong to Asia, but rather to the watery or sea continent of Oceania. And then Russia in 2010, Bangladesh, Norway and Switzerland in 2012, as well as Croatia and Kazakhstan in 2014. The Asia-Europe meeting process is founded on the following 3 pillars: political pillar, economic pillar, and social, cultural, and educational pillar. And the process is generally considered by the partners involved to be a way of deepening Asia's and Europe's relations at all levels. That is considered necessary to achieve a more balanced political and economic world order. It is enhanced by the biennial or every 2-year meetings of the heads of state and government, alternately in Europe and Asia, and biennial meetings of foreign ministers, as well as other ministerial meetings and other political, economic, and social, cultural events at various levels. The ancient Greeks classified Europe, derived from the mythological Phoenician princess Europa, and Asia, derived from Asia, a woman in Greek mythology, as separate lands. And people still disagree on where exactly to draw the division between Europe and Asia. Especially whether the Kuma-Manich depression or the Caucasus Mountains form the southeastern boundary between Europe and Asia is disputed, because Mount Elbrus would be part of Europe in the latter case, making it, instead of Mont Blanc, Europe's highest mountain. Most accepted is probably the boundary defined by Philipp Johann von Strahlenberg. He was a Swedish officer and geographer of German origin who lived from 1676 to 1747. He defined in his lifetime in the early 18th century the dividing line between Europe and Europe and Asia along the Aegean Sea, which separates Greece in southeastern Europe from Turkey in Western Asia, Dardanelles, Sea of Marmara, Bosporus, which makes Istanbul, Turkey's largest city, formerly known as Constantinople, into a transcontinental city. Its western portion still being in Europe, its eastern region in Asia. The Black Sea, the Kuma-Manich Depression, the Caspian Sea, Ural River, and Ural Mountains. In plate tectonics, the Eurasian plate includes Europe and most of Asia, however not the Indian subcontinent in southern Asia, or the Arabian Peninsula in western Asia, or southwestern Asia if we want it, or the area of the Russian Far East, east of the Chersky Range. The former Soviet Union was clearly a transcontinental country. Its area was even some 5 to 6 million square kilometers bigger than that of Russia today. And as in Russia, its western portion was in Eastern Europe, the rest was in Central and Northern and Eastern Asia. Many people in Kazakhstan, or fairly many people there, use the word Eurasia to describe its location.